Moving on to Wii U, the system launched in November of 2012, but no virtual console was in sight. You could boot up Wii Mode on Wii U to access standard Wii stuff, and here you could download and play virtual console games, but they were only available in Wii Mode. You couldn't play them with the Wii U gamepad or Pro Controller or anything. It was basically playing Wii virtual console games on a Wii U. Eventually, in January of 2013, Nintendo announced a traditional virtual console for the system. If you transferred your Wii contents over to the Wii U, you could upgrade your Wii virtual console games to the Wii U versions at a discounted price once they were made available. They had this promotion going on for the Famicom's 30th anniversary, where each month for a little while in 2013, they'd offer an NES or SNES game for 30 cents. That was a really cool way to have my bank call me for suspicious activity on my account, because what else costs 30 cents? Balloon Fight was the first release in January, and they offered one game a month as a part of the promotion, but this was just the soft launch. The official launch of the Wii U Virtual Console was on April 26th, 2013. And nobody cared! The magic of these games being playable on modern systems was kinda gone. These were all games that released via the Wii Virtual Console. There was nothing new here. Sure, Wii U Virtual Console games were a bit more robust. You had much more responsible save states like with the 3DS, and you could actually change up the button layout to your liking. That was fantastic. You could pull up the manual and flip through that on the Wii U gamepad and play the entire game on the gamepad in general. That was a nice feature. But that didn't help the fact that these were still the same games we played on the Wii Virtual Console, and even then, not even close to all of them. Nintendo was just going to slowly trickle out their Virtual Console games all over again. Like, yeah, Link to the Past is great, but we already got it on the Wii, so bringing it back on the Wii U in 2014 wasn't as exciting or as big of a deal as Nintendo wanted it to be. There was also the problem of the systems on Wii U Virtual Console. What systems? Only NES and SNES games were available at launch. And then Game Boy Advance games the year after. What? Who was asking for Game Boy Advance games on the Wii U? I think it's fair to say most were wanting GameCube or N64 or for Game Boy Advance games to be available for purchase on the 3DS, but nope, Nintendo really threw a curveball with that one. Nintendo 64 finally followed in 2015 alongside DS games. That was pretty nice. It was great to be able to finally play DS games on the TV. Even if they weren't that fun to play on the TV, it just feels a little awkward. They give you a ton of different display methods, but you have to manually change it for each game you play, and sometimes none of them feel that natural. Wii games were made available for digital purchase in early 2015, which they're sometimes referred to as virtual console titles, sometimes they're not. But yeah, they offered Wii games digitally. Okay, I can already play these games on my Wii U. Sure, it's nice to have an option to download a game, but not very exciting. And finally, the last system to be offered on the Wii U Virtual Console, TurboGrafx, what the fuck? The majority of TurboGrafx 16 games that came out for the Wii U came out after the Nintendo Switch launched. Now, SNES and GBA games looked phenomenal on the Wii U, really. These games cleaned up incredibly well and looked beautiful through HDMI. So what the hell happened here? NES and N64 games look like garbage. They're washed out and too dark and blurry and not pleasant to look at all. Now, I know I sort of complimented the Wii's Virtual Console and how NES games looked like with it, but keep in mind, the Wii wasn't an HD system and it was from 2006. I liked how the games looked organic, but I expected them to be sharper, clearer, and just more colorful on the Wii U. DS games look okay. I don't really think it has anything to do with the emulation quality. It's more so the fact that I don't think DS games age that well visually. Now, the Wii U did get some cool VC releases. Earthbound finally got re-released. That was a big one. It famously skipped the Wii Virtual Console, even after Iwata name-dropped it at E3 2005.
The idea of a single device transporting us back to the first Excitebike, Earthbound, or Punch-Out should make us all feel young again.
But it finally came out. For $2 more than the standard SNES games, okay. But not only that, Earthbound Beginnings finally got a release outside of Japan. That was awesome! $2 more awesome than your standard NES game. Duck Hunt and a few other light gun NES games got re-released for the first time, the Virtual Console versions using the Wii Remote's pointer. There was some good stuff, but it was few and far between. And when they actually started to put out more interesting games, a lot of people, including myself, just lost interest. They had a major problem with scheduling these games for release. We already replayed most of these games on the Wii. They weren't exciting anymore. But they still drip-fed us these things over a period of 4 years. For some reason, Mario 3 was announced for a Virtual Console release in August 2013, and it came out in April 2014. How the hell did Mario 3 get delayed? Also, they never released Yoshi's Cookie. They said they were gonna release it, and they never did. Well, that was it. The Virtual Console brand ended with the Wii U. I understand getting rid of the name just because it doesn't really mean much anymore. Now, that doesn't mean classic games aren't being sold on modern Nintendo systems. Of course they are. Nintendo offers both older games as full-blown releases or as a bonus for signing up for their online service. Third-party companies either release their old games through Nintendo's Classic Games app or on their own, either through collections or just simple eShop releases. However, I think it's fair to say I miss Virtual Console, even considering all of its problems. Well, yeah, getting collections of old games mostly makes it so you end up paying less for all of them. I really loved the uniformity of the Virtual Console games. The fact they all had similar icons on your menu made it feel much more like they were actual games, a part of your actual collection. It was a much simpler method of releasing older games than how they're released now. You either have to buy compilations with a bunch of games you might not even want, or they're overpriced, or they're a part of a subscription service, and because of that, games release incredibly slowly because it's probably more complicated to license games for that. Virtual Console was easy to understand, and it was fun to discover old games that you might not have played or rediscover old favorites. However, I'm inclined to say the service peaked with the Wii. Almost every console you could have wanted was offered. With the 3DS and Wii U, there were always auto missions. Why did Genesis and Master System never come to the Wii U? Why did it take so long to get N64 or even TurboGrafx-16? Why did GameCube games never come? It felt like to me that Nintendo wasn't trying enough with the Wii U Virtual Console, and in some cases the 3DS as well, and we see that continuing today with the Nintendo Switch. They spent an entire year just re-releasing NES games, while with the past 3 systems they were reselling the same NES games, and because of that, nobody cares anymore. The nostalgia for NES games has completely flatlined. There is still some great NES stuff out there, but the amount of love for the system isn't growing as much as it was in 2006. N64, GameCube, and Wii era games are the big nostalgic moneymakers right now. The people who grew up with those systems are old enough to want to play them again. But NES games are way easier to re-release, that's why we're mainly getting them. I miss Wii Virtual Console era because it didn't feel like Nintendo made up excuses as to what they will and won't re-release. And now it feels like they say, oh, GameCube games are so hard to re-release, here's Wrecking Crew, you'll like that. All in all, even if the service got worse with each console it appeared on, I'm gonna miss the Virtual Console. Even if Yoshi's Cookie never came to Wii U. Am I the only one that cares about that?
General population, do you give a shit that Yoshi's Cookie never made it to Wii U Virtual Console?
No.
You heard it here first, folks.